All right, number 24 asks us to determine the intervals over which the function is decreasing, increasing, and constant. So with this question, the key question you want to ask yourself is, what is happening to the y values as the x values are getting larger? So here with our parabola, we can see that as the x values are getting bigger, so too are the y values, right? Because if we look right around here, we can see that the x is approximately -3 and the y is approximately -10, right? So -3, -10, approximately. But up here with, maybe we'll choose this point here, we can see that this point is approximately -2, -4 looks like. So not only did the x's get bigger, right? We went from -3 to -2, which is an increase, but the y value also got bigger. We went from -10 to -4. So the x's are getting bigger while the y's are getting bigger. And that trend continues until we get right here, the vertex of the parabola. What happens here at this vertex is the graph turns around, and while the x's continue to get bigger, the y's decrease. They're getting smaller. So let's take this point, for example. This point looks like 1, -1, approximately. And as the x's get bigger, we can take a look. We can see maybe right here that this point looks to be like +3, maybe -9. So as the x's are getting bigger, notice we went from +1 to +3. That's an increase. They got bigger. What did the y values do? They got smaller, didn't they? They went from -1 to -9. So something is happening right here at the vertex. There's a change. So we can say that this function is increasing because as the x's get bigger, the y's also get bigger, and that interval is from -infinity to 0. But this function begins to decrease from 0, right? It turns around, down through +infinity. All right, so notice that we're using interval notation again. We're talking about domain here. These are domain intervals, but what we're using to determine increasing and decreasing are what's happening to the y values. So on this interval, domain interval, from -infinity to 0, as the x's are getting bigger, so too are the y values. On this domain interval, from 0 to +infinity, the y values are getting smaller, and so we say decreasing. In this particular case, with number 24, there are no constant intervals, and so we don't have to write it, or I guess you could say constant would be like a null set, something like that, does not exist. All right, so that's number 24. Let's take a look at number 25, another question about increasing, decreasing, and constant functions.